Yeah, that's the segue. Let's talk Origin teams. So Origin 2 next Sunday. We've kind of given a few spoilers leading into this.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. you know Darth Vader is Luke Skywalker's dad?
Going back to the Star Wars show.
Yeah. Slip a little nerdy reference in here and there.
Cotter injured his hammy in the warm-ups. He's out 4 weeks. He got hurt. Xavier Coates, of course, we knew was out. Jack Whiten has the COVID and will be ruled out. Latrell is unavailable. He was coming back, needed a game, but also got the COVID. And Pappenhausen, who also I think was going to play a game, got the COVID and will be ruled out for New South Wales. So a few changes there. For Queensland, I'm not 100% sure who they'll bring in as an extra second rower there. They had a few options leading into the first game. Oates for Coates probably makes the most sense. He's been playing well, but then
think over the hammer.
There's also the hammer, so it'll be one of those two. One of them will get picked and play that role. I think Carrigan probably comes in the starting squad for Cotter.
Yeah, he was unreal, and then they picked someone off the bench.
Someone out on the bench from one of the boys that missed out from game one.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes the most sense for my mind. And Carrigan's been great for the Broncos, even in a losing game for the Storm. So that I think is the Queensland side. I think very much outside of that, they'll be unchanged.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
And I think they'll stick with the Harry Grant and Ben Hunt, that combination. It was interesting that what did Hunt play? Did he play 20 or 25? And then Grant came out, and then I think Hunt only played the last 20-ish.
Yeah.
So I'd say probably something similar.
Sort of like a 50-50 split.
Yeah, yep. And probably it will also depend on how many healthy bench players they have available, considering they lost one and then two, and then they got one back in the first game.
I wonder with Cotter being out,
because he played 80. Yeah.
Do Hunt and Grant go on the field at the same time, perhaps?
I think when we talked about this for game one, that was my initial thoughts, was Ben Hunt could play, that 20, put Grant on, then you bring Hunt back in late, but then Grant just moves into the second row.
Yeah.
So
that's definitely...
They've got options. I like the options. I am happy with the options they've got there.
Grant doing a cheese roll, if you will, that he does at Melbourne. New South Wales are obviously going to be forced to make a few changes as well. So Jack Whiten, we mentioned, will be out.
Who's going to play in the centres?
With the COVID. I think Staggs will keep his spot.
He's healthy.
He was quiet in game one. I don't think he warranted getting dropped. No. I don't think Freddie is really one for, dropping guys off the performance in one game.
He's been good for Brisbane since.
So I think he stays. I think Crichton probably comes in and starts.
No other options.
Starts in the centres.
I think it makes sense.
I didn't like him playing 14. I don't.
It didn't work.
I said it on the pod. I think if Crichton plays, you pick him as a centre, and he doesn't have that, kind of versatility that a lot of guys give you as a utility player.
So speaking of versatility, does that mean Hines then walks straight into that number 14 job?
That's what I'd do.
Yeah,
that's what I'd do.
I'd agree.
He's arguably, he's a shot to be a Dally M player. He's arguably the best player in the comp at the moment. I think, he would have been really good to be injected in that last 20 minutes when New South Wales needed a little bit of extra grunt, or a little, well, grunt's not the right word, a little bit of extra firepower. X factor, firepower.
So I guess the question then for you, well, now that by all reports it looks like Cook's going to miss out and Apikasa is going to be the hooker.
They're just reports.
Just rumours coming out. Does Appy play the full 80? And if not, can Hines come in and play hooker for you?
I wouldn't want to. I don't think that.
I think that seems odd to me.
I don't think it was a good experiment last year when we've got to get AJ Brimson into the team. Let's play him as a hooker. I don't think playing guys that out of position is conducive to victories. And I feel for Cookie because I don't know if Appy's a better footballer than him. Like Cookie and that will get me to the next point in a sec. The things that Cookie does when he scoots, how quick he is, the fact that he can make 50 tackles, the beach sprints, bro. he can cut a game open. From watching, I think South have been going through a bit of a poor period, but he hasn't been bad at all. I think the argument for Coruscant is obviously, well, you got 6, 7, 13 are all Penny Panthers boys. Why not throw a knot? Why not you make?
So what is Teddy looking over his shoulders now?
Dylan Edwards.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, yeah.
But I think that might be might be the difference.
If you want to win an State of Origin game, you should probably be picking the 13. The best
players.
the best players that can play
rather than trying to.
Yeah.
Well, I think I don't know if that's going to be the case with Appy because and he gives you a little bit that Cook doesn't. He probably got a little bit better kicking game.
Yeah. That is a good point. They do probably need an extra kicking option because kind of refuses to kick, and they have to go through Cleary for everything. And Queensland did shut it down, so maybe that is the play. But then add Nico Hines. He's another kicker option.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I can see that. I can see some of that strategy starting to evolve. Yes,
I think Cookie will be stiffer than a board if he gets dropped from this, and not in a good way.
Yes.
I think
I knew we were going with that.
Yeah, it didn't probably come out as best as it could have been executed.
No.
I think he'll be very stiff to miss out on this team.
Yeah. Any other changes in the forward path?
Good question. Well,
I think they're all pretty healthy.
No one's.
Does Sims get another run?
Does Sims get another run? That's a good question. That's a lot of pundits have said that he was.
Did Yo play yesterday?
He was quiet. Yo played. Sims did not. On Friday night, so he hasn't played since Origin.
Okay.
So there's a big question mark around Sims, and
by all accounts, Yo will be good to go.
Yo will be fine. Yep,
Yeah.
Yo will be fine. Angus Crichton will probably be banging the door down to try and get that other second rower's spot. A lot of New South Wales, fans, pundits, kind of a bit unhappy with the Sims selection, and obviously DCE scoring that try untouched. That was Sims marking him.
Yep.
But I don't know. Do you go back to last year where Sims was one of New South Wales' best players,
grittiest players, etc.
Yeah, exactly. And he kind of, obviously I'm a Dragons fan. I'm going to advocate for Tariq Sims. I watch him week in, week out. He does give you the odd sort of error or kind of brain fade, but he's purpose built for it. He's got that real mongrel in him, and if it does become a bit of a slugfest and you need an enforcer, out there defensively, I think Sims gives you that. But then you could argue, well, doesn't a guy like Victor Radley, give you that? Victor more of a 13 than an edge back rower, but
he's probably not going to beat out Yo. But you never.
If they want to play, if he comes off the bench or something, I think both those Chooks guys in Crichton and Victor Radley must be very, very close.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
I think Radley might still be injured at the moment.
Yeah, he hasn't.
Suspended. One of the two.
He's not suspended. I think you're right.
He's injured.
He's hurt, isn't he?
Yeah, his ankle.
Yeah. He's out for ages. So forget that I said that. But Crichton will be very close.
You also got Frizzell, I guess, in the mix.
Always
true. There or thereabouts.
True. Yeah, and talking about Dragons flyers. I was so upset when he went to Newcastle because he was our best forward every year, and just gives you consistency. And again, he's been there on the big stage, and he's a pretty tough, hard nosed player as well. So wouldn't be surprised if Sims loses his gig for Frizz or for Crichton.
Final question: do you make a change on the wing?
Hadokar's banging the house down, isn't he? I didn't think he should have been dropped in the first place. Not that Tupu was bad. In game one, they pick him so he can negate the high ball. But in terms of being that meter reader and that like you said, the X factor, Addo should be in this team.
Are you looking on the wrong wing?
To'o.
Just asking the question.
That's a good question.
Because I'll put this to you. Tupo and To'o combined, Addo got the same amount of tries as them.
Yeah, interesting.
When I looked. It might have changed over the weekend's
Obviously,
games,
caveat is To'o's missed half the season.
Exactly.
And again, they're talking about selection. 2021 To'o is not the same as 2022 To'o.
Yes.
And he hasn't been going out there and running for 280 metres every week like he was.
They did score 40 points in that game. He had 3 tries when I looked. He might have a couple more after the game against the Warriors. But
I think maybe just coming back from injury, he does have, 5 or something games under his belt now. He should be back and running, but he's not the same To'o as we saw last year. And I think in everyone's sort of selection books, you've got 2021 To'o on your mind. So that's why, when you ask me the question, I'm kind of, no, he's the first winger picked, but it's maybe a reasonable question.
Yeah. Well, if you had to rate all three at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. I still know To'o did things last year that wingers don't do, and
so I think that's the thing. You probably go, well, at the moment, Adokar's maybe one, To'o's second, so then Tupou's your third. So if you're going to pick the two best ones,
yeah, maybe
it means Tupou misses out.
I still think I might go To'o, Adokar, Tupou, but. Again,
but either way,
what are you talking about? Are you talking about on current form? Are you talking about?
Well, it's current form. It's this year.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
You got to play the game next week, not last year.
Not in 2021.
Yeah. And
typical me living in the past.
Yeah, and I also want to say that if you're going to pick a guy that does similar things, I think Adokar and what Ben To'o do is more similar than
Brian.
Brian. Then
they're more of a like for like switch than
Tupou. You're picking Tupou essentially for the size because you want to compete against Cobbo. That's essentially why he's on there on that side. Whereas if you're it might change though. If you pick Oates as well, you're going to be like, well, I've got
two dudes.
So you got two talls and what are you going to do?
Campbell Graham gets a gig. I don't think that's going to happen.
That's not going to happen. But yeah, I think if anything, it'd be more a conversation about do we, on that side of the wing versus.
And they'll also pick their team. They'll pick their squad before Queensland does.
Yeah.
So they won't. I don't think they'll be thinking about their selection either. But interesting. Who'd be a coach? Fuck.
Or selector.
Yeah. Tough.
Yeah.
Rather just drink beers and speculate.
I think you got to get Adokar in that squad somehow.
Yeah, I agree. He's recent. I think him and Hines, they've put out a statement. There's another guy that we haven't mentioned, Matt Burton.
Oh yes, for centre, for centre, he's been great for the Bulldogs.
Been hands down their best player.
Played centre with the halves over there. No,
and if you want the chemistry, he knows the way that the Penrith boys play. So there's a shout as well. If Freddie decides for whatever reason to pick Stephen Crichton again as his utility, does Burton get a start in the starting side? Does Crichton go in and Burton edge out Hines?
I wouldn't do it.
Again, bigger body. He can play more positions.
Nick Hines is big enough.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm being devil's advocate here.
I
think Hines needs to be.
I think it's more of a if Burton gets picked and Adokar doesn't get picked, and then it's a way bigger slap in the face for Adokar. Considering they've put red lines through Bulldogs players.
Yeah.
And going, they're doing shit house at the moment. We're not going to pick from there. But I think it'd be tough that the dude leading that club and playing great week in, week out doesn't get picked.
It's going to be interesting. We have, we'll know at least New South Wales in about 6 hours.